Amandla. Amandla. Baie dankie, baie dankie. Ek is baie bly om hier te wees. Program Director, Deputy Minister Mcebisi Skwacha, Minister of Rural Development and Land Reform, Minister Maite Nkwana Mashabane, the Premier of the Western Cape, Ms. Helen Zille, Ministers of our National Cabinet who are here, and Deputy Ministers, MECs who are here, the Mayor of the West Coast District, the Mayor of Matsikama Local Municipality, councillors of our local government, the leaders of the Community Property Association and the Trust, community leaders who are with us, religious leaders who are also here with us, members of the Commission on Restitution of Land Rights, everyone else who is here, welcome and thank you very much for being here, and particularly for the people of Ebenezer for welcoming all of us, especially me. Ons verwelkom ook vandag the representatives of the people from Beeswater, van Reinsdorp, and also those people who are very proud of their Griqua origins. We are particularly pleased to be amongst you today. And we also say, ons welkom aan die mense van Valplas en Paternoster. En ook mense van Rooiberg en Rooikamp. Laat ek sien wie kom van Rooiberg af. Dis 'n paar van hulle daar. Rooikamp, 'n paar van hulle hier. Valplas, mense van Valplas is hier. Paternoster, hulle is ook hier. Baie dankie. Now, this is a very important day. It's a belangrike dag. The handing over of these title deeds, the land that we are handing over today, is indeed a historic occasion, because in many ways it includes the very first ever settled land claim in the Western Cape to descendants also of the Griqua people. It is in the ownership of land that we find our independence as a people. Die droom wat julle voorvaders en voormoeders gehad het om hierdie mooi land by sy regte mense terug gegee word, is nou hier, ons vervul het vandag. Daardie droom wat hulle gehad het baie jare, many years ago, gebeur nou vandag. En dit gebeur hier in hierdie tent vandag. It is land that our people have always cherished. They've always cherished to to have a piece of their land, to have a piece of land that they can live on, that they can work, and land that can give them a livelihood. It is land that holds the roots also of our ancestors. This is the land that in one way has endured the passage of time. And to borrow the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who, as we all know, once lived here and thereafter went to India and launched a titanic struggle against the British government to gain the independence of India from the United Kingdom, said this about land, which is quite profound. He said, land is not so much an inheritance from our forefathers and our foremothers as it is a loan from our children. In other words, land is what we get as a loan from our children, and it is this that today we are now receiving. But I also hear that there are quite a number of young people here. The young mensen van Ebenezer, as hulle hier vandag. Ek is baie bly om te hoor dat die jong mense is hier. Want het is die jong mense van Ebenezer wat hierdie land moet voortoe neem. They must take it forward, and they are the ones who are supposed to restore the land to what it is supposed to be. That is die jong mense wat die toekomste van hierdie land is. Dit is die jong mense wat sal hierdie land herstel. Hulle moet dit mooi herstel, sodat hierdie land moet die land wees where our people are going to eke out a living, and they must restore it to its glory days. The number of claims that are being settled here today, a total of 392 out of 422 by February of this year, is a result of cooperation between the Department of Rural Development and Land Reform and the Office of the Land Claims Commissioner. And it is for this reason that we thank the Minister and her department, as well as the Office of the Land Claims Commissioner. Let's give them a round of applause for the work that they have done. As we hand over this land, we share a common goal, all of us, to improve the lives of all South Africans and to uplift their material conditions by giving them access to land. This process has shown what we can achieve when we work together. Work together in the sense that all levels of government have combined here at the national, provincial, as well as the local government level to work together to ensure that we arrive at this day. This is restoring what was done wrong in the past. Now, as the democratic government of a free South Africa, it is our responsibility to undo the bitter legacy of the past. It is precisely this that we are doing here today. Colonialism robbed our people of their identity, of their livelihood, of their future. And it is precisely this that our government is trying to put right. Apartheid degraded the lives of our people, and it is this that this government is trying to put right. And in many ways, our task as a government, I think, is harder than many other governments around the world, in that we have to right the wrongs of the past, the wrongs that were wreaked on our people by colonialism. We also have to right the wrongs that were imposed on our people by apartheid. In that way, we are dealing with the past. But at the same time, we've got to deal with the present. The present in terms of dealing with the challenges that our people face, challenges of poverty, challenges of unemployment, and challenges of inequality. And all these three challenges have their roots in the past, which we have to deal with. But we also have to deal with them right now in the present. But as we deal with all that, we've also got to prepare a future for our people. So we deal with three things and challenges at the same time. Although human rights are by their nature universal, it is the rights of society's most vulnerable that we must take particular care of, to enforce and to protect. The right to land by a people is a fundamental right. People who work the land, such as farm workers and labor tenants, are in the end the lifeblood of our country. It is the hands of people who work the land who put food on our tables. Dit is die hande van die arbeid van mense wat op plase werk, wat kos op ons tafels plaas. Nou, sonder die pogings van plaaswerkers is al die plase reg oor die land. Hulle sal nie kan produseer, hulle sal nie kan uitvoer nie. En dit is belangrijk dat die mense wat op plase werk, they are the people that we must take care of as we move forward. Now, quite often, these are the people who are never really acknowledged. They are never acknowledged. They are always looked down upon. When we talk about farm workers, we always think that they are really at the bottom there. Now today, namens al die mense van Suid-Afrika, wil ek al die mense van die Weskus almal erken. I want to acknowledge all of you, people who are here in the West Coast, who work the land, who work on our farms, who produce the food that we eat, and we say thank you. Baie dankie vir al die werk wat julle doen. Now, unjust laws like the 1913 Natives Land Act, the Prevention of Illegal Squatting Act, and the Group Areas Act caused untold hardship for the people of our country across South Africa, and the effects of all these laws are still being felt today. The brutality of these laws was keenly felt in the farmlands of the Western Cape province. People who had spent their lives on these farms were often uprooted. They were evicted and they were shunted to far away and desolate settlements for their designated population group. Now, the story of how many of our people were removed from the farms that are being claimed back today still has to be told, because there was a lot of brutality that accompanied the removal of our people from these lands. And when some of them were removed from their lands, they received paltry compensation or very little compensation. But many of them received nothing at all. They were simply just told, gather your belongings and leave, often without any notice. Hulle het net gekom en gesê, neem al julle dinge en julle moet loop. That is how many of our people were treated here. It is impossible for us who live today to fully comprehend the anguish that they felt. They left behind the only homes that they ever had known, where their ancestors were buried, and they were also forbidden forever returning to the lands occupied by their ancestors. It is this systematic dispossession that our people were forced to endure that we are correcting here today. More than a century ago, the people of this country declared in the Freedom Charter that the land shall be shared among those who work it. With the passing of the Restitution of Land Rights Act of 1994, this government set about giving effect to that declaration. Over the past 25 years, we have been able to harness the provisions of this law to begin to change the skewed patterns of land ownership in our country. And across the length and the breadth of South Africa, land has been restored in a number of places to its original owners, be they individuals or be they communities. In other cases, where it was not feasible to return land, individuals or communities opted for financial compensation. Like here, there is a community that has said, because the land cannot be restored back to them in a way that they can work it, they would rather have financial compensation. Now, despite the numerous challenges we've faced, the land claims process has made a difference to the lives of hundreds of thousands of South Africans who were denied their birthright. But land reform needs to be accelerated if we are indeed to correct this historical injustice. What Premier Helen Zille also referred as the original sin that was committed in our country. I'm glad that even our Premier sees this as the original sin that was committed by the colonialists who came to our country and took land away from the indigenous people of our country. And I applaud her for recognizing this. Now, we've been rather slow with the land reform process, and there's been a lot of impatience amongst our people, and justifiably so. And I want to thank the people of Ebenezer and the surrounding communities for your patience, for being long-suffering, because you have waited for too many years for this day to arrive. But the day has now come. The land is being restored back to you. Now, beyond this, we are going to pick up the pace of land reform. The interministerial committee that was established to oversee the accelerated land reform process, as well as the Presidential Advisory Panel, is now at work, and it's speeding up the process. Ours is a constitution founded on the principle of social justice. In the past, access to land, to wealth, to services, to opportunity was the realm of the privileged few at the expense of the majority. With democracy, all our people were afforded equal rights as we laid out our vision for a non-racial, non-sexist, free and egalitarian society. Having land returned to its rightful owners is just the first step towards sustainable and enduring land reform. It is a priority of this government to ensure that we provide the necessary support to communities who have had their land returned to them in order for it to be utilized productively and effectively, and to support our broader goals of agricultural growth and economic transformation. I'm therefore particularly pleased that the Ebenezer community wants to use the land for productive purposes. There are already various agricultural activities, including livestock farming, that are taking place on some of the farms. And 3 harvests have already been completed so far. I am pleased to note that the emerging farmers in the community are being supported through the Ebenezer Farmer Production Support Unit and have established a cooperative model to build capacity in livestock, in vineyards, where they are going to produce grapes, where they are going to produce lucerne and hay, as well as other forms of fresh produce. I am also told that the restituted farms have also acquired a quota for the delivery of wine grapes to local sellers, and the community trust is engaging with Pioneer Foods around the production of raisins, currants, and sultanas. So this makes me exceedingly happy, because it shows that in the end, the Ebenezer community is now going to use the land that is being returned to them for productive purposes. And I do hope and wish that the Ebenezer community is going to show the way and a leadership role so that other communities that also have land returned to them can learn from you here in the Ebenezer community. I want you to become a role model. I want you to become a leader, because other communities that have had land returned to them, we find that the land is not being used productively, but I know that the people of Ebenezer are going to show the lead. They are going to show how good they are in doing all this. A number of infrastructure projects have also been implemented in the restituted land. The farms have combined water rights for 132 hectares from the Olifants River Irrigation Scheme, which will greatly help the community in its future agricultural activities. In the future, the community is looking at exploring opportunities in the rapidly growing aquaculture sector, which has significant potential benefits in terms of job creation. In the other communities, there are also exploration of a number of other opportunities in livestock, in game farming, as well as a possible opportunity in salt and gypsum mining. It is critical that we highlight the post-settlement futures for all these claimants. Land reform isn't just an imperative for social justice, it is also part of our great drive to grow the economy and to create jobs for our people. In the economic recovery stimulus package, I announced last year we prioritize support for the agricultural sector. We have a vibrant and diverse agricultural sector.
Just dipping out of that briefing, of course, President Ramaphosa is set to hand over 50 title deeds to families along the Cape West this morning. In some other news,